Ontario, Canada has one of the lowest crime rates in North America, but between 2009 and 2010, a small community in Tweed, Ontario, north of Belleville, was terrorized by an unknown suspect who broke into houses, sexually assaulted women, and eventually murdered two of the victims. Jessica Lloyd was a witty, cheerful young lady. At 27, she was lively and very vivacious. Jessica works as an administrator at Transportation Services, where she coordinates school bus schedules for the area. January 28, 2010, around 10:30 p.m. she sent text messages to her family and friends to say goodnight. In the morning, Jessica did not show up at work. This is unusual for her colleagues, especially since she did not inform them. After 2 hours of their duty, they phoned Jessica's family about her absence in the office. Her brother, Andy Lloyd, and mother, Roxanne McGarvey, who lives in Belleville, rush immediately to Jessica's place in Tweed. Jessica always leaves her doors unlocked since she's in a peaceful neighborhood known to be one of the safest places on earth. When the family arrived at Jessica's place, they uncovered her personal and important things intact, including her phone and purse, which is very alarming as she would not leave the house without them. It seems that Jessica Lloyd has disappeared without a trace. They then reported Jessica missing. During the search, one person saw a footprint just outside Jessica's bedroom window and a tire track outside her house. The authorities immediately launched a massive search, and with the help of the neighboring police, they deployed an ATV unit and an auxiliary police unit, with helicopters flying all over Jessica's place and posters scattered around town. They also shared Jessica's disappearance on social media. 1 week after Jessica's disappearance, the authorities still have no clue as to her whereabouts. They put roadblocks on Highway 37 that connects Belleville with Tweed, which is close to Jessica's place. They checked every tire in every vehicle they stopped, hoping to find similar tire treads to those found at Jessica's place. On that same day, Colonel Russell Williams from the Canadian Armed Forces was driving on the same highway with his Pathfinder when he was stopped by the police and asked some questions. After a couple of minutes, they let him go through. Russell, in his usual drive, was not bothered and continued his normal day. Russell has been well known and a model to his fellow military officers for over 23 years in the service. He was posted and served for 2 years at the Canadian Forces Flying Training School at CFB Manitoba. From captain to commanding officer, he was well respected not only in the military but also in his community in Ontario. After a week of searching for Jessica Lloyd, the police now have a lead. They found a match on Russell's tires. It's the exact tire treads that were found in Jessica's place. February 7, 2010 Sunday, the authorities called Russell and invited him to come over on Monday for an interview regarding the case. But for some reason, later in the afternoon, Russell decided to come and do the interview that day. A behavioral sciences expert from the provincial police investigators interviewed Russell, which led to an interrogation. Ontario Provincial Police Jay Smith, an expert in behavioral science, greeted Russell, but he did not address him as Colonel, trying to establish equality between them. Russell knows that he's into something, but he maintains his composure. Upon entering the room, Russell seems calm and confident. As the interrogation went on, Jay Smith showed Russell strong evidence that connected him to the disappearance of Jessica Lloyd. He also gave them the shoes that he was wearing to run a test, which also matched the footprints that were found in Jessica's bedroom window. After all the solid evidence and the beautiful work of Jay Smith and his team, they finally cornered Russell. He went on and still denied the allegations, but was eventually torn down and exhausted. After a couple of hours of interrogation, Russell Williams admitted everything about the disappearance and murder of Jessica Lloyd. He confessed to raping her and keeping her for a couple days before killing her. He also later confessed to breaking into Corporal Marie-France Comeau, a 38-year-old bright woman who is posted at CFB Trenton, the same base where Russell was assigned as a former base commander. Russell already had an eye for Comeau. He breaks into her house twice, and for the second time, she proceeds to rape and kill her. The family and friends of Comeau were shocked into disbelief. The police then searched Russell's house and found some photos of his victims, which he had taken during his break-ins. He also took lingerie as a trophy of his assaults. He also took photographs of himself wearing the same lingerie. Russell Williams is charged and pleads guilty to the double murders of Jessica Elizabeth Lloyd and Corporal Marie-France Comeau. Together with the breaking and entering, forcible confinement, and sexual assault of some women in his neighborhood. He was sentenced to 2 lives in prison without the possibility of parole and another 10 years for the victims of his break-ins and sexual assaults. Russell's uniforms were burned, and all his medals were cut into pieces. This was to degrade Russell's achievements in the military. His Nissan Pathfinder was crushed and scrapped. During his quest in life, with all his achievements in the military, he was able to hide his demonic figure and pretend to be a good model for his country and a loving husband to his wife, a real embodiment of a psychopath.